it's your favorite domestic terrorist. We will be talking about the Sonic Music tier list. I'm going to be making my own because I'm dissatisfied with a lot of the rankings that currently exist. A lot of the problem that you'll see with them is that it's less of a ranking of the actual soundtracks and more like, yo, this one has some bangers, bro. This one got some fire, bro. This one theme is so cool. Personally, I don't really rank soundtracks like that because it's more about their overall construction to me. Like how good the entire soundtrack is blending with itself, as well as how individual tracks transition into each other when it comes to like emotion and feeling and things. So for example, we'll be taking into account cutscene music, which pretty much no videos do when it comes to ranking these soundtracks. So in order to start, we have to have a baseline to compare to. And I think the absolute best one is going to be Sonic Unleashed. It has an insane level of coherence when it comes to the construction of the soundtrack. Takoi and Otani and Kumatani did an amazing job putting together all their influences and the world aesthetic of the game in order to make like a story out of music. And on top of that, Takehito Eguchi's cutscene music is insanely fitting for the game. It uses the main theme a lot, which adds to the cohesion. And it's also not inundated with cutscene music like a game that we'll get to very far into the video. It has the correct blend, in my opinion, between music for gameplay and music for cinematics. There's a lot more collaboration between teammates when it comes to cutscene music as well as gameplay music. For example, for Hideaki Kobayashi's boss theme, Otani worked on the drums for both Boss Theme Day and for Egg Dragoon. They're probably done at the same time, I think. And then as well as that, we get some staple introductions to the mixing team, like Dave Darlington, who did the mixing for a lot of the Hubtown themes. And he has this very dry but also like cohesive mixing style, which is highlighted in the liner notes by Otani in regards to how well Darlington mixes soundtracks with a more live element. That's another thing I want to mention. It's one of the most live Sonic soundtracks. There's a lot of instruments playing that are recorded in a studio. And even though having sequenced things aren't bad, it still adds to the flavor to have what feels like a live band on almost every track, even if it's not actually. Like, for example, did you know that all of the tracks that have acoustic guitar in them for Unleashed, they are played by the same group of people that does the ones for Apatos and Windmill Isle. So even though they usually focus on what can be considered as like Romani jazz and things like that, they still play acoustic guitar so well that they are kept for a bunch of the other songs on the soundtrack, and that makes it blend together more when you have the same people doing different songs, because it gives the album a specific character that you wouldn't have if you had a different player for every individual track. So that's why Unleashed is at the top. It is just perfect. It's like the culmination of the themes that Sonic was trying to portray around that time with its inspiration when it comes to music. I have pretty much no criticisms of the soundtrack at all. That would be why it is the one to be compared to. Okay, so next we have Sonic 1. Sonic 1, I think this goes in, if not S tier, like a really high A. I might change them later. And yes, order does matter. Sonic 1, obvious high tier. It is the first soundtrack. It has Green Hill Zone. It has Marble Zone, Spring Yard, Labyrinth. It's not the best of the original trilogy, and you can clearly see that Nakamura was new to game composition, and he was still trying to find his way when it comes to how exactly he makes tracks for a video game, especially with one with limitations such as any game on the Genesis. He did do a very good job at it though, especially with the collaboration with the sound programmers. I feel like a lot of the things that he tried to do with his demo tracks were replicated in the final game pretty well. For example, if you listen to Marble Zone's demo version, the lead is very similar to the final game's lead. It's almost like they tried to, they probably did actually, try to program out that sound onto the Genesis, which might be why Nakamura came to Sega Studios so often. I wonder if he was transferring data from his SY77 to give to them so that they could replicate patches. The only criticism I would have it is that sometimes it feels like kind of samey, you know. For example, the Final Zone, Boss, and Scrap Brain, while they are very distinct tracks, when you know them and when you've been playing the series for however many years, if you were to ask a newcomer to identify the difference between those two tracks, they'd probably all think that they came from around the same part of gameplay, even if they're all from three entirely different separate parts of the game. Like, it's not as iconic, I would say, as something like Sonic 2, which is an automatic S tier. Nakamura hit his stride, and he kind of figured out how to implement his usual city pop style from Dreams Come True into the series. I can't name a single track here that I don't like, and I can't really name one that's not memorable or not up to the standards of the other ones either. Like, for example, for Labyrinth, you'll hear people conflicted on how well it fits the stage, and how well it accommodates the environment when it comes to, like, oh, you're in this dark underground labyrinth, why is the music so happy? There's none of that with Sonic 2. It is a very all the songs match to the environment that the stage takes place in. Like, if I showed you Emerald Hills music, you'd be able to tell that that's first level music. If I showed you Oil Ocean music, you'd be able to tell that's for like a desert type of, you'd be able to tell that's for a desert type of zone. The only thing that doesn't match here is Metropolis, which, if I recall correctly, we know that's for a different stage theme. But even with the unused music that ended up being like matched to stages that they don't belong to, they still do extremely well. Like, Mystic Cave fits Mystic Cave, even if it might have been for something else. Chemical Plant fits Chemical Plant, even if it might be for something else. And that's another thing, the memorability of the songs, as well as their iconicness. Like, I believe it's at their peak here for the original trilogy. Chemical Plant is one of the most remixed songs in the series for a reason. It's the standout track of the game, I feel. And I believe it's when Sonic started being associated with, like, funk music or music that has slap bass, things like that. Like, when you hear Sonic 1, when you hear Green Hill, you might think, okay, yeah, that is a slap bass sounding tone, but really it could be like a synth bass on any sort of synthesizer. With Chemical Plant, you can specifically tell it's supposed to be slap bass because Nakamura got better with his programming and better with visualizing his ideas onto the YM2612 with the sound programmers. So, easy S for Sonic 2. Sonic CD, so this one is JP and this one is US. JP, automatic unleashed, because I do have to knock some points off because there's not a lot of songs in the game, specifically because of the data limit of CDs, but for the songs that are there, they are, like, astonishingly perfect for the environments that they belong to. There's not a single song that's not as good as all of the other ones. Even the good features, which people usually say are not as fun as their bad feature or present counterparts, I think they're perfect. I can't name a single song that I don't like as much as any other song on the soundtrack, which is why if you were to ask me my favorite song on the CD, it would change hour to hour, not even day to day. And that's not even getting into the past tracks, which are completely, like, blows out of the water a lot of other sequence soundtracks of the day. They almost have like a tracker like feel, like if you're listening to like a mod file or something. They're not trackers, and they weren't made like that, but it's a very, it's a very produced soundtrack. It's done with help from Being Studio, which you can tell that there's a lot of like producing going on that's not from Hataya or from Ogata, and it is only a net positive in my opinion. I feel like we would have had an entirely different experience if it wasn't for that sound that comes from working in an actual studio with people who were veterans in the industry at that point. Because you have to remember, Hataya and Ogata were new to music production in 1993 when the music for the game was made. So them getting help from people who had already experienced making electronic music really helped elevate their production that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So that does wonders for the soundtrack when it comes to how well everything is mixed, how it's mastered. There is one thing I'd like to mention. The 20th anniversary version of this album is awful. It is over compressed and really loud for no reason. It was mastered twice. Like they took the already mastered versions from Sonic CD and then ran them through a compressor and then a soft clipper. I'm not really sure why they did that. That was really unnecessary. Luckily, the 20th anniversary versions have never ended up in a game before. They all use the original masters, but that's awful, and I don't really know why they did that. Sonic CD US. Okay, this one is probably the most divisive one in this list so far. I personally am gonna put it at C tier. It was made in 2 months. I sympathize with the composers that had to do Sonic CD US in such a short amount of time, but just the reasoning for its existence kind of ruins it for me. There was no reason that the soundtrack had to be like Americanized, because as we know now, vast majority of people prefer the Japanese soundtrack to the US one. So clearly they did not need to make any changes. They really just corporate meddling and almost some sort of like, I don't know, like American exceptionalism when it comes to redoing the soundtrack for one country. So I'm not really sure why that happened. But when it comes to the actual songs themselves, they're all right, I guess. Clearly they were being pressed for time. So it's not as original or as like diverse as the Japanese soundtrack. Like there are some tracks that you could play for me. They're good future and they're present and they're bad future versions. I couldn't tell you which one maps to which time zone. They all take a sort of new age tone, which isn't necessarily bad, but I just don't think for a game like Sonic CD, where it is very clearly loud and boisterous with its color direction, that having like a mellower soundtrack really works in my opinion. Like it's evident that the game was made with its music in mind, because there were, according to Mazin, a lot of design documents for how the game was to be made, and an entire book for the game's design. And clearly the music was being a part of that, right? Because that's, you know, how you immerse the user into an experience called Sonic CD. It's about the music, really. So I'm not really sure why Sonic CD's US soundtrack exists in the first place. And on top of that, I don't really think it's very impressive. There are some standout tracks, though. Stardust Speedway Bad Future is good. Palm Tree Panic Present is good. Palm Tree Panic Bad Future is alright. But really, they just... it shouldn't exist. Sonic Spinball. I'm gonna put this in D, because I like Toxic Caves. I like the title screen. Even the options menu is good. Everything else, kind of forgettable. It's not very... I don't think it's particularly programmed well when it comes to sound selection, because it's using a lot of Gems factory presets. And they just kind of sound, even though it is a standout from the Gems era of American Genesis music, it's very clearly still a Gems soundtrack. And so because of that, the composers limited themselves because they didn't really understand the sound chip like the Japanese composers did. To be fair, that's not their fault. They got no documentation, and Sega's just like, okay, here's the console, now make video game. And they didn't get pretty much anything until far after Japanese soundtracks had already hit their stride when it comes to sound programming. So they were kind of playing catch up all the way until the Genesis died. And they never really got to figure out the sound chip the way that the Japanese composers did. And so because of that, Sonic Spinball sounds like every other Gems game, just with a bit of a Sonic flair. It was Howard Drawson's first Sonic game, and he would later go on to work on Sonic and Knuckles, so that's good. Toxic Caves it almost makes up for the rest of the soundtrack being what it is, but I cannot actually put it any further above this, considering what most of the soundtrack sounds like. I just think generally it's not very good. I don't know. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I have no idea. Sonic Spinball on the Game Gear. Why does this exist? Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. This one I'm gonna put in C tier with Sonic CD US. I'm just not a fan really of the American Sonic soundtracks around this time. They're just kind of lackluster and not very interesting in my opinion. Mean Bean Machine does have good music for its first stage and for its multiplayer theme, but even then, that's from Puyo Puyo, so I can't even really give that to Mean Bean Machine because it's just a remix. And like even worse than a remix, it's from an FM chip to another FM chip, so it's almost a copy and paste, just flavored in gems. So I cannot put it anywhere above C really, because the songs I like the most from it are from other games. Game Gear Automatic E. Sonic 3 S tier. Not a single track in this is bad or even lackluster. Even when people say like, "Oh, Marble Garden isn't the best," I completely wholeheartedly disagree. I think Marble Garden is an amazing track. We have Hydra City. We have Angel Island. We have the Data Select theme, Sonic's second foray into bossa nova, with the first one being Palm Tree Panic Past. Clearly belongs in S tier with Sonic 2. There were a lot of composers on this game, and even then, it manages, I think because of the FM chip, it manages to still be one big organized experience. Even with the like additions from Cube, who never used any PSG, you can still tell that all the music is for the same project, which is incredible considering how many different tones you can get out of an FM synthesizer. The fact that these all sound like around the same, I think because of the creation of the Universal Voice Bank, is very impressive. I'm not sure if that was done specifically for keeping coherence between all the tracks or because of like efficiency. Either way, it did wonders for the soundtrack, and I think it's perfect. Sonic and Knuckles obviously goes up there because they're the same game. Sonic 3 Beta. This is probably going to be like B tier, because while it's really good and I do like the tracks that were later replaced for the Michael Jackson ones, I think Ice Cap is kind of lackluster in the beta version. And as well as that, a lot of the tracks are just straight up broken and unfinished, obviously. So I can't put it up there with the finished game, nor can I put it with Sonic 1, because Sonic 1 is complete. It was done when it released, so of course an unfinished soundtrack cannot go above it. I still think it goes above Sega CD's. I still think it goes above Sonic CD US because it's still Sonic 3. So automatically it's going to be better than Sonic CD US. It's just straight up more memorable in my opinion. Sonic and Knuckles Collection. This is going with C tier. Even though it's obviously like a Japanese production, it still has the vibe of the American soundtracks from around this time. It's heavily depends on what you play it on, but in general, I just don't like general MIDI very much. It's not very interesting to me because I'm a sound design person when it comes to presets and patches. So having only the same collection of 128 for the whole soundtrack, it just sounds boring. And then even of those 128, you're only going to use a certain subsection because most of those presets don't apply to most types of music. So you have an even more limited set of sounds to represent an FM soundtrack, like one of the most, if not the most programmable sound chip type in history when it comes to video games. And you have to represent them with an SC55? No. Chaotix. I'm going to put it up there with Sonic 1, but behind it. I think it's really good, and it's also Mariko Nanba's introduction to the series. But I do think that there's just not enough songs in the game to be considered with the rest of these, because when you think of like Sonic 3, it has like 12 zones, and each of those have 2 acts, so you get like 24 very well produced songs. Chaotix just does not have the same amount of music, so I can't put it up with the other soundtracks because there's not enough to compare to. On top of that, a lot of them are remixes of the same leitmotif, and I think that's a really cool, like that's a good thing, but it doesn't give me much to review when it comes to comparing it with other games in the series because a lot of them are just the same theme. Sega Sonic Bros. I kind of forgot this game existed. I guess it can be over here. It has the Blue Spheres theme, so that's good, but nothing else is really exemplary. This isn't Sega Sonic Bros. This is the other one. It has Trap Tower, and that's all that's like notable about it. So I'll put it in Sonic Spinball. The fact that I forgot about it is probably why it's not very high up on the tier list. Sonic the Fighters. I like Sonic the Fighters a lot, but there's not a lot of tracks that are iconic. There's, of course, the title screen. What is it called? Like Kiyo. I think they meant Kayo, but you know how Japanese English translation is. The title screen, it has what is it? The song, I think it's called, the song is called like Lovers for Angel Island. That one is really good. It has the Arctic one that was later remixed for Sonic Gems Collection. That one is also really good. I think the rest of them are kind of just forgettable though, and it doesn't help that the same brass sample is spammed for like the entire game. And Maki Moro is a great composer, and this is also Takenobu Mitsuyoshi's I think it's his only contribution to the series when it comes to, no, it's his for one of two compositions to the Sonic series, the other one being Sonic Superstars. And it's pretty good, but he doesn't really do much in the game. It's mostly Maki Moro. And the only other game she worked on was like what, Virtua Fighter Kids or Virtua Fighter Junior, whatever it was called. So it was, and then she kind of just stopped making music. So I do have to give Sonic the Fighters praise for being like one of a composer's few soundtracks that still came out really good. So I think I'll put it above Sonic CD US. But other than that, I can't really give it anything else. Sonic 3D Blast Genesis. I think I'll put this in B tier because it's really good, but there are just some tracks that are like confusing, like Spring Stadium Act 2, which is Sonoi's first attempt at like a jazzier theme for the series. Actually, it would be No Way. So I guess his second jazzier theme for the series. And it's just like not, it doesn't make any sense. It kind of sounds like clown music, which I don't really know why he did that, but I'm not really a fan of putting Sonoi on jazzy themes. That's not really his thing, in my opinion. Even for the ones that he did supervise, like Casino Night, Act 2, and Sonic Generations, those were arranged by Atsushi Kosugi. So he didn't do them, and that's probably why they sound really good. No offense to Jun Sonoi, I'm just not really a fan of the work that he tries to do when he tries to get more complex, like harmonically complex with his compositions, because they still end up sounding like video game music. Spring Stadium, even if it is a really good track, it's kind of like Casino Street from Sonic 4 Episode 1, but earlier. Okay, Sega Saturn Sonic 3D Blast. It's good. That's really it, though. That's all I can say. I think it's good. Do I think it matches the Genesis version? Maybe. I think it matches it, but it's not ahead of it. And that's because there's some tracks I don't find interesting. It starts off really good with Green Grove and Spring Stadium, and the title screen, You're My Hero, is great. And the special stage, that's just one of the best tracks around this time, from 1991 to like 1998 of this point in the series. Special stage from Sonic 3D Blast Saturn is incredible. However, the later half of the game just starts getting kind of repetitive. Like, I understand the want to put a leitmotif of You're My Hero into every song, but it just starts stifling the tracks, in my opinion. Like, especially with the ones for, what's its name? Volcano Valley and Gene Gadget and Panic Puppet. In my opinion, there's nothing that can really match Panic Puppet Act 1 in Sonic 3D Blast. Nothing of that level is in the latter half of Sega Saturn and Sonic 3D Blast. They just don't really, like, I would give the first half of Sonic 3D Blast to the Saturn version. I would give the second half to the Genesis version. So that's why they're in the, I would stack these on top of each other if I could. Sonic Eraser. So this is Masaru Setsumaru's first contribution to the series. It's very interesting. I will give the Versus theme the fact that it is very compositionally and like arrangement wise very complex, and I do like its ideas. However, sound selection is very, very important, and Setsumaru did not do that with this game. It was his, not only was it his first introduction to the Sonic series, it was also his first game ever when it comes to making a soundtrack. So I can't like hate it too much, but it is definitely like it is like Sonic Spinball tier when it comes to arrangement choices. So yeah, Sonic 1 Game Gear is A tier, I think. Actually, I'm not gonna put it above Sonic 3, even the beta version, but it is very like Yuzo Koshiro is insane. He is a programmer, he's a designer, and he's a musician, all in the period of time where making video games was incredibly hard and you had to know assembly. And he's like this crazy like hybrid of every job position in the market, except for art. And he still managed to produce not only an insanely good arrangement of the original, but also then add on his, in my opinion, just as memorable tracks onto the end of it, to the point where I could do the entire soundtrack from memory. Of course, that's gonna be high B tier, right next to Sonic 3, I would say. Sonic 2 Game Gear, it is very close to Sonic 1 Game Gear, I would say. Not above Genesis 3D Blast, but definitely above Saturn 3D Blast in my opinion. If I recall correctly, this is Tomonori Sawada's first game. You can't really recognize. No. It's a second game. No. Yeah, it's his first game. His second one was Sonic 3. It's has some really good ones. If I recall correctly, it has Green Hills, which is which is You Can Do Anything. They're probably made around the same time, but I don't think it's going anywhere above Sonic 3D Blast Genesis, because while it has some really memorable ones, it also has ones like, hold on, let me listen to the soundtrack real quick. It's not bad, but it's just kind of meandering, and it's not really interesting in my opinion. Yeah. Wait, no, there's no Genesis soundtrack in what? A lot of it feels kind of meandering to me. Like the melodies get really long, and I'm not really sure why. This one is very good though. It's made by Ogata, and it's very similar to Crying World and Rice Star. I do like the combination of Ataya and Ogata on soundtracks. I wish they had more than just these two, because they make really good music when they're together. They complement each other's styles very well. Ataya has like a more natural tone, and Ogata takes a more techno tone. The boss theme is also really good. I do like how it creates a sense of space even on the Game Gear, with the constant use of echo. So actually, I do think it does deserve this spot. Where did I put it? Yeah, I do think it deserves a spot. I kind of take back what I said about it being meandering. I think that applies more to Sonic Chaos. Sonic Chaos is kind of C tier, because Turquoise Hill is very good, but outside of that, I really think it's the only notable track in the whole game, besides maybe the Species theme. This one is plagiarized from the Core Game 1. I can't even give it any credit. Yeah, so this is what I mean when it comes to meandering. Like, there's just notes for no reason, and I'm not really sure why. Triple Treble, same thing. Triple Treble is very note heavy for really no reason. I really don't know what's happening here. Why are so many parts of this like not in time? Like, it feels like it's trying really hard to be adventure type music, but Sonic really doesn't do adventure type Zelda music. Most Sonic music is in particular not very video game-y. But if you were to tell someone this is a random video game track playing in the background of like a movie or something, they'd believe you. Not very impressive. Props to the people who had to remix this for Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit, because I personally would have had a hard time with this given how not interesting it is. So yeah, definitely, I think it might be D tier, honestly, because even these games have more memorable music than them. Sonic Drift, E tier. Sonic Drift 2, also E tier. Although, fun fact, in Sonic Drift 2, there is the shortest song in the entire series. That's the shortest song in the soundtrack. So I will give it that. And also that song is pretty good. So I think because of that, I'm gonna put it above Sonic Triple Trouble. What is this? What am I looking at? Sonic Labyrinth? Um Yeah, Sonic Labyrinth goes there. Awful. Um Tails Adventure, awful. Tails Sky Patrol, awful. Very much video game music. Sonic Blast, awful. Sonic Jam on the game.com, awful. Okay, real soundtracks again. Sonic R. I'm gonna have to put this above Sega Saturn's Sonic 3D Blast. Honestly, above Genesis 3D Blast. Because every song here is memorable. You have Living in the City, Diamond in the Sky, Supersonic Racing. Like, obviously it has to go up here, right? It's also Sonic's first foray into like house, like not like Sonic CD's interpretation of house, but actual just straight up 90s house cheesy music. Obviously it has to go in high A tier or high B tier. Sonic Pocket Adventure. It's remixes of Sonic 3, so it goes below Sonic 3. Below Sonic R, though. Sonic Adventure. Now, finally, like a real soundtrack. Like, the other ones were good, but, like, it's Sonic Adventure, right? Of course, it has to be up here. So, it's going in A tier. Why not S tier or Unleashed tier? Because while it's really, really good, the cutscene music leaves a lot to be desired. There's only a few cutscene songs in the game, and since this is 1998 and Hideaki Kobayashi wasn't on Sonic yet, they didn't have really like a basis on how to do orchestral music, and so it all just kind of sounds up. So all the orchestral music in the cutscenes and for the final boss just ends up sounding like really lackluster, and there's a lot of interesting programming decisions. Like, for example, in Be Wild, Be Cool, and Be Groovy, the brass has a comb filter for some reason. And you can tell it's because Sonoy and Takoi were up doing long hours in the studio trying to mix this, which they say in the liner notes. In addition to that, it's not unpolished, but very clearly in the transition between the analog and digital era. For example, Sonoy mentions for Red Hot Skull, for Red Mountain, he had to manually move the mixer knobs in order to do the cut-ins and the chopping. That's something you would never have to do, even just a few years later for Sonic Adventure 2. And it shows because those fades are very, like, interestingly timed. You might like that, but I just think it's a product of its time and not necessarily in a good way. Other than that, though, it's Jun Sonoy's introduction to being sound director for the Sonic series. Actually, I think he might have done it for Sonic 3D Blast. I don't recall. But his style is very recognizable, and he uses a lot of his mainstay hardware that he's been using for a long time. His Korg Trinity enters the picture. Korg O1W, a lot of twinkly, glittery pads. Sonic Adventure in particular takes more of like a Japanese jazz fusion sound, which is where I think the division between Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 comes from. Sonic Adventure 1 is very clearly more inspired by Japanese music, whereas Sonic Adventure 2 is clearly more inspired by American music, which makes sense because although Sonoy is Japanese, he grew up in Panama listening to MTV. And he wanted to become a rock musician after seeing people play rock music on MTV. So, of course, he would have more of an interest in taking that side of the arrangement style for later games where he gets to do more of what he wants after he's proven himself to be a really good composer and sound director. Also, for his first time as sound director, he was incredible. For like, you have to remember, sound directing, you're not just doing the music, you're also doing the sound effects and how the music blends into the game and how it is programmed and like a whole ton of things. And for Sonoy's first time for 1998 in 10 months, that's incredible. I cannot believe the soundtrack turned out as good as it did with first such a short production period, but also with only what, like 3 composers, 3, 4 There's Sonoi, Kumatani, Tokoi, and Satsumaru. I don't think Maeda made anything. I think I'm mixing that up with 3D Blast. But only 4 composers for a game of that scale of that time, and they did such a good job. Sonic Adventure 2, S tier. In fact, I'll put it above Sonic 2. It's really where everybody had a cohesive style. I'm saying that word a lot, but you can tell what composer made what track in seconds. Like if you hear jazz fusion, if you hear smooth jazz, that's Kumatani or Tokoi's one part of Egg Quarters. If you hear boom bap or UK garage, like a lot of black music, that's Tomoyo Otani. If you hear punk rock, if you hear ska, if you hear soft rock, that's Jun Senoi. It's in if you hear like cutscene music, that's Kenichi Tokoi. And also, in addition, the cutscene music is, they fixed the problems of Sonic Adventure 1. The cutscene music is memorable now. Like, event strategy is amazing. What's it called? What's it, like the 3 C's? The shadow tracks. Black noise. I think one of them is called Reflection. But all of that, exceptional. The final music for when you defeat the final hazard, exceptional piano work from Kumatani. She's an incredible scorer for cutscene music in video games. And you should also find that out if you play Phantasy Star Online. What else? It's, again, much more produced, heavy multi-band compression. The drums are like punchy. This is when they switched from having a lot of live instruments. So in Sonic Adventure 1, Senoi had his kit on his Akai S3200, which was not live. It was, he played the drums himself, recorded them, and then edited them, and then used them for a bunch of tracks. Bass was also not live for a lot of the soundtrack. Takashi Tanida did a few things, but overall, mostly just Senoi and his Akai. Sonic Adventure 2 completely changed all of that. Pretty much almost, I think every Sonic track has live bass. Yeah, every Sonic track has live bass. Almost all of them have live drums done by Katsuji or Hisunori Kumamaru. Or the Rouge tracks, which are done by, I forgot his name, but it was really like those are live drums too. Tokoi gets live drums on Egg Quarters. Otani has Hunted P doing vocals. Oh yeah, that's our introduction to vocal tracks in main themes of Sonic games. City Escape, incredible. Easy 10 out of 10 is the most recognizable song in the series, I think, even above Green Hill Zone. Like, my mother knows City Escape, and she's never played a Sonic game in her entire life. So it's also it was like people were begging for Live and Learn in Sonic Movie 3. Personally, I believe Live and Learn is one of, if not like the best Sonic vocal theme, like game theme in the entire series. There's like really nothing that can be improved with Sonic Adventure 2. Some people say it doesn't have a variety. Those people are wrong. The difference between Sonic Adventure 1 and Adventure 2 is not in variety. It's in how it is dispersed. If you listen to the soundtrack all in a row, how it's organized on the CD, it's going to sound not very various. But if you listen to the game, when different characters have different stage themes and genres, when you intersperse them in the gameplay, when you're going from level to level, switching from character to character, that's where you get the variety, because you're not playing the same character usually 2 times in a row. Or if you are, the tracks that are different between them are easily recognizable. For example, Eggman's themes are industrial. So when you're listening to the dark stage themes, you get Eggman's industrial rock music, then you switch to Shadow's industrial drum and bass, or his intelligent dance music, and then you switch to Rouge's like smoother tone, and you can kind of tell which side is the good guys and which side are the bad guys just from listening to the music on its own. It's where the stage theme started being about characters and instead of being about the stage. And personally, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a very good idea on how to make music for the series, and I'm kind of disappointed that they stopped doing that. That characters don't have character-specific themes anymore, because we no longer have the style of game where specific stages are for specific characters. But yeah, easy S tier. Sonic Heroes. I'm going to put this also in S tier. I'm not sure where to put it with in between with the classic games. I think it's gonna have to go right below Sonic Adventure 2. It's very much a continuation in terms of musical style, but it's much more leaning into the 2000s. Like if you told someone Sonic Adventure 2 was a soundtrack from 1999 instead of Sonic Adventure 1, I could believe that because by that time, digital music production wasn't like super widespread and well understood, but it was like in execution used pretty often, and you can expect like higher quality things from that time period than you could for analog recorded music. Sonic Heroes is very firmly a 2000 soundtrack. Everything is compressed. Have you listened to Ocean Palace's drums? Those are that's like insane levels of like smashing on the compression. They're compressed twice over actually. Ocean Palace uses the drums from Seagate. It's not performed live. So it uses the already compressed drums from Seagate and then compresses them again. And it's one of the louder Sonic soundtracks. I don't think it's done incorrectly. In fact, I think it's mastered very well. But it's very much a product of its time. And for this game, I think that's a good thing. It's very bright and shiny. And a lot of that comes from Naofumi Hataya's contributions of Mystic Mansion and the stage the system menu, and his input on Ocean Palace. Sonoe also takes a brighter tone when he does his menu themes and his battle themes. Those are also exemplary. We have Teruhiko Nakagawa on a mainline game doing some of the battle music. His demo for that is also really good. So even the unused music is like very iconic. So Sonic Heroes, easy S tier. Sonic Shuffle. There's not a single memorable track in Sonic Shuffle, in my opinion, and I have listened to it heavily, actually, for research. I just don't like it very much. I can't remember anything about it, except for a part that I had to edit into a video one time, and I only remember that because I had to hear it over and over again during production. Sonic Advance 1. Okay, so this is Yutaka Minobe and Tatsuki Maeda. No, what's his name? Hatsuyuki Maeda. So, I think I'm going to put this above 3D Blast, but below... No. Above Pocket Adventure, but below Sonic R. Advance 1 has really good music, but around the second half of the game, it kind of falls off, I think. Like, I'm not a super huge fan of slower Skies of Arcadia style orchestral music. I just don't really like it for Sonic. It fits definitely for the game, but I'm just not a fan. I'm a fan of more like faster tracks that have iconic main melodies, and it just feels like around the second half of the game, it just kind of loses the flow that it had in the first half. Like Neo Green Hill, amazing. Secret Base, amazing. The Ice one, it's kind of slow and boring in my opinion. Like, I can remember all of it. I could sing it to you. I could transcribe it. I could remix it from memory. But it's just not as interesting as some of the other tracks in the game. Sonic Advance 2 fixes all of that. It perfects it because it brings in Teruhiko Nakagawa. So it fills in the slower, what would be Minobe contributions or maybe Maeda contributions with Nakagawa's very fast production style. True Area 51 or 52, 53, whichever number it was. Hot Crater, Leaf Forest, all of those really Music Plant. Fast tracks, iconic tracks. They have a very clear melodic harmonic purpose. Nakagawa is incredibly good at composing music for sequence video games. It's a shame he doesn't get to do more in the series and that he's relegated to mostly sound design now. But Sonic Advance 2 pretty much is just Sonic Advance 1, but better in terms of compositional style, simply because of the introduction of Nakagawa. It balances out Minobe's more jazzy orchestral style when he's starting to blend it around the end of the game with Nakagawa's like high energy style. Sonic Advance 3. I'm gonna put it right in the middle of these two, and I think I'll put Sonic R below Sonic Advance 1. Sonic Advance 3 soundtrack is really good. First half, I'm just not a huge fan of Hideaki Kobayashi's stage themes. I appreciate the direction he was trying to take it. It's one of the most dramatic soundtracks in the series, and you can tell he's coming hot off the heels of Phantasy Star Online. But he's not, in my opinion, like the best when it comes to memorability in Sonic Advance 3's final themes. Like Twinkle Snow is really good. Ocean Base is kind of just like I can tell what he's going for, but it's just not really something that my ears can get behind. I think Egg Utopia is in this game. Whichever one has the choir, that one is really good. I have no complaints with that one, but a lot of Sonic Advance 3 just ends up sounding like filler music, I think, which is why it's not bad at all. It's still really, really good, but I'm gonna have to put it in between Sonic Advance 1 and 2. Sonic Battle. I also think it's gonna have to go in the middle. Actually, no, I think it's behind. No, yeah, it's gonna go in the middle. Again, Kobayashi, very, very good composer. Not really a fan of his stage themes. I think he fits more for cutscenes than he does for stage themes. Takoi's music is really good and memorable. Like what's it called? The Emerald stage or something. Whatever the stage is called. I remember the music, just not the name. And Tails' lab, very good. He's takes a more jazzy tone. It's almost like he's bringing Sonic Adventure 1 back to the GBA when he does the music in Sonic Battle with the amount of brass and saxophone that he uses. Very good introduction to was Battle first or was Advance 3 first? Well, either way, either one of these, very good introduction with Takoi to sequence music in the Sonic series. Sonic Pinball Party is just remixes and music from the first Advance game, so I can't put it any higher than the first Advance game. It's not really above any of these. I guess I'll put it like bottom of B tier, maybe high C. I'm gonna put it on high C tier. Sonic Genesis. Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay, so I think Shadow the Hedgehog is just okay. I think some of the tracks are really good, like Sky Troops, but it kind of just feels like samey for a lot of the soundtrack. I used to think it was just straight up uninteresting. I don't think that anymore after listening to it, researching it. It's very interesting. It's Toru Kawamura gets a lot more drum stuff to do in this game compared to Heroes. He's on like pretty much every track almost, but it just kind of feels like Sonoe had to make too many songs and he just ended up like sort of giving up. Like a lot of the cutscene music is construction kits, and there's nothing wrong with construction kits, but you can kind of tell that Sonoe was just running out of ideas, so he's just picking up sample CDs and then he's like, yeah, you'll do. He really needed to have more composers in this game, in my opinion. I think it was it just him and Minobe, and it was him, Minobe, Otani. I don't remember if Shiro Okamoto did anything. I don't remember if he was on this game. And then also he had Keiichi. What's his last name? Keiichi Sugiyama, who did the casino themes or the Bingo Highway and the casino area in Sonic Heroes. But overall, I just really think Sonoe needed more support on Shadow the Hedgehog. He was sound director, so maybe he did that on purpose. Like, made a bunch of maybe he did that on purpose. Maybe he made himself make a bunch of music for this game. But I really can't see this going any higher than anything here. Maybe, like, bottom of B tier. Not bad, just not super memorable. And then Almost Dead is very funny and edgy. It did have All Hail Shadow. That was a good addition. It also has Never Turn Back. That's also very good. So I can't say it's bad. I can't say it's uninteresting, but it's just not the best. Sonic 06 is S tier. It's not an Unleashed tier because it has a lot of cutscene music. So much cutscene music. Hold on, let me show you. Look at how much event, boss, event, event, boss, event, 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 event. It doesn't even sound like a real word anymore. Like, have you ever like looked and realized how much not stage music there is in Sonic 06? Majority of the soundtrack is just cutscenes. There's what? How much is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Skipping the boss theme, there's 11 cutscene soundtracks in a row on disc 3. In disc 3, there's only Crisis City and Dusty Desert, The Ruins, and End of the World in terms of stage themes. Everything else is cutscene music or it's a boss. So this is what I mean by taking the entire soundtrack into account. I cannot put this anywhere above S tier. Even if the stage themes are really, really good, there's just so much cutscene music, and it drowns out the rest of the soundtrack, which is really, 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 really good. Just so much cutscene music. And they all kind of sound the same, the cutscene music. It was done by Taihei and I think a bit of Iguchi. And I think, in my opinion, there's a reason why Taihei didn't make any more music for the Sonic series, because he was just kind of like, hey, we have a lot of like cutscenes in this track, and Otani and Nanba have been working really, really hard on the stage themes. We need someone who is not the two of them to do the cutscene music. And then they just put Taihei and Okamoto on it, and they were like, okay, you guys do it. And then they just like left. So, yeah, really good. Not Unleashed here because there's too much cutscene music. Sonic and the Secret Rings. I think it's around like Shadow the Hedgehog tier, maybe above. Hold on, let me put this above Saturn 3D Blast, and then we'll put Secret Rings here. Secret Rings isn't bad. Again, just not. It's a pretty short soundtrack. Like let me check. If I recall correctly, it's not very long. Yeah, Sonic and Secret Rings is a very short soundtrack. Like second disc, this is mostly cutscene music and multiplayer music, which if you play the game normally, like especially in this day and age, you'll never hear any of these songs. The palette that was found is really good. Unawakening Float is really good. It Has Come to is really good. Dino Jungle is exceptional. Sorry, The Wicked Wild. Really, really, so it's not bad. It's just there's not a lot of songs in the game. Rumblebee's lyrics are just, I can't understand what he's saying. I'm like, he's not a bad vocalist, but I don't think he should have wrote lyrics. I think someone else should have wrote lyrics, and then he just performed them. It's very telling that I think his best track in the entire series is Supersonic Speed, where he's only saying like 6 words. So Secret Rings is good, but I don't think it should be any higher. I think nah, not higher than Shadow the Hedgehog. Black Knight. This is Unleashed here. Why? Because this is Crush 40's sign-off track for the entire series up until Team Sonic Racing. And every single track here, produced by Sonoe and who else? And Minobe and Howard Drawson returns. There is that one like Tommy Tallarico track where he credits only himself and not the actual people who made it. But all the music in this game is good, including the cutscene music. Have you noticed that the soundtrack, the music produced by Minobe, carries the main theme of the game? Like every single one. It's only, I think Jock didn't get the memo for his cutscene music. So his don't have the leitmotif of Night of the Wind, but every other track does, and it's like really good. I'm not gonna put it above CD, but the cutscene music. You know what? I think I'll put SA2 Unleashed here, and then I'll put Black Knight behind it, and then I'll put Sonic Heroes behind that, because Sonic Heroes cutscene music is also really good, but mostly because there aren't that many cutscenes in the game, so it can't take up as much as the soundtrack. So yeah, Sonic and the Black Knight is a very complete soundtrack, I would say. Like if you told me this is the soundtrack for the final game in the series, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad. Um, Only positives for Sonic and the Black Knight. Sonic Unleashed Java. It's like 6 seconds of the normal themes. Sonic Rush, Unleashed here easily. I think I might put it above Heroes. Sonic Rush, Hideki Naganuma. What do I even have to say about this? Like, perfect, literally perfect. Every single track is memorable. All of them are iconic. It's on the Nintendo DS, and yet it is still an incredible soundtrack. Sound programming work done by Nakagawa is incredible, as well as the people at Tease Music making the PSG versions. Like, even the versions stripped down for the multiplayer are still really good. There's like the cutscene music done by Nakagawa from the beta version of Sonic Rush is also really good. The map themes are really good. Not a single song in this entire thing is lackluster or not memorable. All of them are good. So of course it has to go in Unleashed here. Sonic Rush Adventure, really good. Unfortunately, I think it's dragged down by the cutscene music. Shiro Okamoto, his music is just kind of boring. Like, I'm sure he's a good composer if you were to analyze him on his own merits. But you're putting Shiro Okamoto next to Tomoya Otani and Mariko Nanba. There's no way he is coming out anywhere near those two when it comes to output quality. It kind of just feels like, again, we need some cutscene music, and Otani and Nanba are busy making the stage themes. Okamoto, can you do it? A fun fact, Okamoto used to be like kind of an apprentice under Ryuichi Sakamoto for like his production. So I just kind of expect more from him, not just like generic orchestral music. It doesn't help that all of his themes are like super stereo widened. I'm guessing because they didn't want to use that much space on the DS, but it doesn't really help that all of his songs have really weird stereo field, and so you're kind of like losing half the detail when you listen to his tracks. So something I do wish is that Rush Adventure had a like original Groove Rush sort of like remastered or original demo versions that Sonic Rush did, because all of the soundtracks are all compressed for the soundtrack release, and they had the opportunity to use the original one, so I don't really know why they didn't, or at least have them as like a bonus. Fun fact for Sonic Rush's soundtrack: the reason why the Groove Rush number 6 isn't there is because they literally ran out of space on the CD, so that's why there's no Groove Rush 6. And I don't think the map themes are there either, because they really wanted it to just be one disc. Sonic Chronicles, F tier. Sonic Rivals, okay, I'm gonna put Sonic Rivals in like D tier. It's not an American soundtrack, it's Canadian, and that's kind of what kills it, in my opinion. So if you didn't know, Canadian law has this thing where games made, like media made in Canada, has to have a certain percentage of its production staff be Canadian. So Chris Rosanson is the Canadian composer for Sonic Rivals, and I'm guessing he either didn't really know about the Sonic series or he didn't really care about the Sonic series, because every single track he makes in the entire game is just construction kit music from like Big Fish Audio Nu Metal and Apple Loops, like the 0G Pro Pack and Dance Pack. Again, construction kit's not a bad thing. However, this is like, it's a Sonic game. You kind of expect a little bit more effort than just like throwing random stuff in and then being like, okay, that's a song for one of the stages in the game. Like, And then even when he's throwing loops on top of each other, he like stretches them really weirdly. Like he'll throw like a 90 BPM loop on a 170 BPM song, and then he'll like stretch it with the default stretching, so you can obviously tell that it's not meant to be that speed. It's just like not interesting. All the tracks sound the same unless you like no lifed Sonic Rivals when you were little, like I did. If I played you a random song from the game and then I played you another one and then I had you guess if that was a completely different zone or if it was an act 2, 99% of you would fail. There's no way you can tell because they all sound the same. Sonic Rivals 2. I'm going to put it above Sonic Rivals 1 only because it has Blue Coast and Race to Win. But those are Sonoy themes, not Rosanson themes. That's the only 2 songs he made in the game. So I can't give it any more credit than for that because the music that's in the game that's really good was not made by the main composer. Sonic Rivals. I mean, Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders 1 is also Unleashed here. The cutscene music in the game is really good. There's only a couple cutscene themes. It introduced techno and acid to the Sonic series, which I could not thank Tominori Sawada enough for that. His work on mind design on his project, and then on his label Transonic Records is like he brought that over to Sonic the Hedgehog and then merged it with the high energy of the series. So I don't know how he did it, but he made one of the most incredible soundtracks of the entire series. Then on top of that, you add Kenichi Takoi and Fumi Kumatani on top of that. So like taking it up to a next level, Sega Carnival is one of the best themes in the game. I know it from Sonic vs. Darkness, so I may be nostalgia biased here because I remember playing Sonic vs. Darkness and listening to that song all the time when I was like 9 or 10. But Sega Carnival is not like it's how do you make a song so good for a bonus track? Like most of the people playing the game will never hear it, and yet she went like insane on Sega Carnival. That's one of the best compositions that she's ever made, in my opinion. So Sonic Riders automatic Unleashed here. I think, yeah, I don't know. It might be controversial to put it above Sonic 06, but I think its cohesiveness as a soundtrack, where you can tell that everything is from the same game, is what puts it above 06 for this ranking specifically. There might be individual songs I like in 06 more than anything in Sonic Riders, but if you were to buy the soundtrack on CD, I would prefer to buy Sonic Riders than Sonic 06. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. I think it's like I think it's gonna have to go below Sonic Adventure. I like Sonic Riders Zero Gravity a lot. I like its orchestral tone, but I just don't think it reaches the same highs that Sonic Riders 1 does. The music kind of takes the same like design style as the rest of the game, where it's not really Sonic Riders. It's just a different hoverboarding game with the same title, but it's not Sonic Riders music. I like the futuristic tone, but outside of stuff like the main theme and Ungravitify Techno Remix, whatever it's called, the one that's used for the menu, outside of that and Sawada's few, like I think 2 contributions to the whole soundtrack, it's not as iconic, and it doesn't have the same striking style that Riders does, which goes for the game itself. It's just not as, I don't know, radical. Sonic Free Riders is awful. The reason why is because half the tracks in the game are mastered like garbage. They're insanely loud and brick walled to heck. I have no idea how Free Riders soundtrack got past QA to where anyone thought it was okay to have a soundtrack this loud. Let me show you. It's so compressed that everything is distorted. How did this happen? And it's only for was it Koji Sakurai? It's only for Sakurai's music. The music that Sawada made doesn't have this problem. Even for Sawada's music, he kind of dropped the ball in my opinion. Like he just like spams Stylus RMX for the soundtrack, and he doesn't really put in his own flavor like how he used to for Sonic Riders 1. Like, it's not bad. It's just not as interesting as Riders 1 or even Zero Gravity. And then it's like super happy music, but it forgets that Sonic Riders 1, like, the point of it was that it wasn't super happy all the time. Even if some of the music could be like in major and could be more cheerful, it still took an undertone of futurism, not just like pure like straight up happiness and like bliss. It's just too, like, it feels less like Eggman is making an evil subtle race that has like manipulative undertones, and more just like Mario Kart. So I'm not really sure why Sonic Free Riders is like that, but I just don't like it very much. I'll put it above Sonic Drift, I guess. I'll put it above Sonic Spinball, actually, but it's not going... I'll put it above Sonic Chaos. You know what? Okay, I'll put it above Sonic Pinball Party, but I just don't like it. Sonic Colors DS. I should probably rank... Oh, wait. No, this is Sonic Colors DS. Sonic Colors. It's either S or it's Unleashed, but at the bottom of Unleashed. Sonic Colors is really, really, really good. There's not a lot of cutscene music in the game, so that's a plus. Like, okay, cutscene music isn't bad, but it just tends to be not as memorable as the stage themes, unless you're Sonic Unleashed. So, Sonic Colors is gonna have to go top of S or bottom of Unleashed. It is in Takoi and Otani and one Kumatani track. I've never seen such a good soundtrack produced by only 2 people. Like, how do you even get that good to where you can duo a soundtrack like that, like Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla type beat, and still have such a good, like, and then Dave Darlington starts mixing again. Like, he was kind of absent for a bit, but Dave Darlington was back on Sonic Colors, and he mixed everything perfectly. This Sweet Mountain, Tropical Resort, Planet Wisp. It's one of the last time that Takoi's production is just unironically good. Like, no caveats. It's just good. He plays bass a lot on this soundtrack. Like, it's pretty much every song has a live element. Otani starts doing electropop, or electro house. Non-Buzz on it. She does some of the stage themes. Sweet Mountain area is really good. All the area themes really good. Naofumi Hataya is making music again. He's on Tropical Resort area. He's on Asteroid Coaster area. Like, every part of the soundtrack is good. I think, you know what, I'm putting it bottom of Unleashed. I think I'm actually going to put it above Sonic Riders. Debatably above Sonic Heroes, but that really depends. Sonic Colors DS, I'm going to put it bottom of 8 here, above Free Riders, because it's just Sonic Colors, but worse. Not to say it's bad for the DS, very impressive, but it is just Sonic Colors, but worse. Recolors. Where am I going to put this? I think I'm going to have to put this below Sonic. No. I'm going to put this top of Beat here. Recolors is really good. I feel like for some of the tracks, though, Otani and Takoi are just kind of missing the point of the originals. Like, it kind of feels like it was just like, let's make new music, let's make new remixes, but they kind of forgot that they were making it for the game. So while these are really good remixes on their own, in terms of fitting into the game, it's just kind of compared to the original tone. For example, Tropical Resort. The original Tropical Resort in Sonic Colors 2010. It's a surf rock theme mixed with electro house. It's very poppy. Otani himself says he took more of a synth pop tone. It's really good. Tropical Resort in Recolors, it's not bad. I do like the piano. Dissonance is very important in music, and I think Sonic fans are kind of stupid for not understanding that, but that's another thing. But it just takes all the surf out of it. Why? And then Sweet Mountain, it removes the guitar, again, removing the surf rock and just replaces it with a piano, which is missing a lot of the melodic complexity because pianos can't bend like guitars do. So you're missing all of that. You're missing the, like the radicality, I guess. Asteroid Coaster, I think, is like completely ruined. There's no bass, and Takoi, for some reason, it goes on a crusade in the whole soundtrack of replacing all of the live bass that he played with sequenced programmed bass from Spectrasonic's Trillion, which came out in 2008. I don't know why he did that. Why did he do that? He took out the live elements to add in fake elements when he already played the real elements 10 years, like 12 years before. Why did I don't understand. This is also when Takoi started mixing himself. So if you don't know what that means, mixing is like the meshing of different elements of a track together with like creative effects like delay, reverb, chorus, or with utility effects like EQ and compression. And usually it's done by a mixing engineer like Yoshitaka Miya or Dave Darlington. For some reason, around this time, Takoi starts doing it for himself. Like he starts mixing his own music. He did this for PSO2. Why? Who let him do that? Don't let him do that. Takoi is an amazing composer. He's an amazing arranger, usually. He is an awful mixing engineer. Why is he allowed to mix himself? Don't let him do that. Put Yoshitaka Miya back on it. Imagine if Takoi mixed himself for like Spagoni a day. Why? Sonic 4. I'm very biased. I'm incredibly biased. I am super biased. This is going in A tier. I think every single track in Sonic 4 is really, really good. I am biased. I'm going to admit that this is not an objective ranking, and this is completely for Sonic 4. This is like nepotism because Sonic 4 is my son. But I'm putting these in A tier. You can ignore these if you want. You can put these wherever you want. These are the only ones I'll allow you to completely trash in my opinion for this, because these are not deserved to be up here. They are simply up here because they have a golden parachute, and I will not allow them to fail. But I think Sonic 4, I'm gonna put these. I'm gonna put this up here. Okay. Sonic Generations S tier. Maybe above Colors. These maybe above Heroes. Yeah, I'll put it there. Sonic Generations, it doesn't have a lot of cutscenes, but the cutscene music that is there is good because a lot of the cutscene music is remixes of the final boss theme of Time Eater. Then that's a good track. So making cutscene music based on that, I have no problem with. And then also like the jazzy theme for when Sonic's at his birthday party that plays at the beginning and end of the game is really good. I forgot who composed it. It was a one-time thing for the Sonic series. I think it might have been from T's Music, but that's really good. The remixes are also really, really high quality, especially like Rooftop Run Act 1. I see some people say like, oh, Hataya's Act 1 remixes is just the original, but he put some stuff on top of it. I think that was a really good way to do it for this point in the series, because when you're reintroducing all of these old concepts to the series, you kind of have to have some sort of like, this is what the original sounded like, and then this is what I'm doing to it. I don't think it would have been a bad idea to completely remix the tracks, but I do think Hataya's more like conservative remixing style did really well for Generations, because the original tracks are already so good that instead of trying to remake them and start all over again, Hataya putting some stuff on top of it, like it simplifies the production for him so that he can focus on what he's adding rather than what he would be removing if he were to remake them himself. Generations 3DS goes in the same place as Generations because they're the same soundtrack. Lost World. I think I'm gonna put this in high S, maybe above Sonic Rush Adventure. I really, really like Sonic Lost World's music. I just can't remember any of its cutscene music. But besides that, it's like the most adventure-y soundtrack in the series. Not it's not like adventure, but like adventure genre. Very clearly taking inspiration from Mario. Not necessarily a bad thing though, because I do like the world-based music themes. For a lot of the series up until this point, having songs that connect across stages was kind of like forgotten. Like Sonic Unleashed, while it's really good, the day themes have nothing to do with the night themes in terms of the stage music. For Sonic Colors, the area themes have nothing to do with the stage themes, except for I think Aquarium Park. Um, but Sonic Lost World doesn't forget that, and I think that is pretty good. It's Otani also brings the surf rock back for the theme of the Deadly Six. It has Honeycomb Highway. It has Windy Hill. The only thing that I don't like about it is Lava Mountain. Lava Mountain is like really boring and not bad, but uninteresting. Very clearly Otani's first attempt at making dubstep. It's not very good. Ignore Lava Mountain. Sonic Runners. Unleashed here. Because there's no cutscene music. All of the songs are memorable. There's only a few of them, sure, but they're all like perfectly composed. There's nothing I can criticize about them at all. It's pretty much just Unleashed 2 in terms of sound profile. It is more compressed and it's focused on J-pop band sound, but I think that simplicity adds a lot to where like nearly everything is live, and the things that aren't live are synth things that are programmed. So yeah, Runners is easy Unleashed here. Sonic Mania, also Unleashed here. I'm gonna put it right above. Ooh, is Mania better than Rush? I'll say I'm gonna put Rush above Black Knight. I'm gonna put Gens above Black Knight. I'm gonna put Heroes above Black Knight. I'm gonna put Colors above Black Knight. I think Black Knight goes bottom of Unleashed here, actually. I like this better. But yeah, Mania, perfect. Nothing I can criticize about Mania. Every single track is good. Even the ones where T-Lopes doesn't add much, like Hydro City, still perfect. Lava Reef, perfect. Green Hill, perfect. Starter Speedway, perfect. Metallic Madness, amazing. Boss themes, incredible. Automatic Unleashed here. There's not a single flaw in Mania's entire soundtrack. Sonic Forces. I think I'm gonna put this on the same level as Sonic 06 because the cutscene music performed by the London Symphony Orchestra, incredible. When you see the making of, when you see all of them play their parts for the songs that they're talking about, you can really get a feel of how much Otani like cared about making Forces a like grand seeming soundtrack. There's a lot of collaboration with Takahito Iguchi, even not only playing piano but also arrangement. The stage themes are really good. It's kind of just Runners 2, honestly, except violin is replaced with Nexus 2. Like I get it gets a lot of flack for the synthiness of it. I think that's completely unfounded. Not only is it not just one super solid preset, but also Otani uses a lot of Nexus 2. The dubstep is pretty good. It is a bit stuck in 2017. It is a very 2017 soundtrack. There's no way anyone is confusing the dubstep or the electronic music in Sonic Forces with Sonic Frontiers. Completely different styles. Sonic Forces pales in comparison to Sonic Frontiers in the electronic music aspect. But besides that, everything else is really good. The FM music, I think, is also really good. Except for, I don't even hate Faded Hills. Faded Hills is not, in my opinion, sound arrangement choice for the instruments is really bad, but compositionally and arrangement wise, it's really, really good. Hataya returns. He was gone for 6 years from the series for making music for it. Oh, actually, he made Sugar Lane for Sonic Lost World, but that's one song. So like Forces, I have nothing against it. I think it's really good. I researched it a lot. I have no problems with the soundtrack. There's literally only one like sort of black spot. Fist Bump is really good. Light of Hope is really good. The stage themes are really good. Jacques is back on main soundtracks. He didn't do any composition, but he did do vocal recording and mixing, I'm pretty sure, and editing. Sonoy is back. He does guitar for the Infinite theme. Danger Kids. Like that's what Tyler Smith does his first appearance, and then he's just been a mainstay ever since. So like Forces is really good, and it instills a lot of really good aspects into the Sonic series. Frontier's original soundtrack unleashed here. Not only is the cutscene music really good, but the stage theme, cyberspace, incredible. I cannot sing praises highly enough for the cyberspace themes. It really took Sonic into a very modern direction with those. Newcomers to the series like Rintaro Soma, Kanon Oguni, the other one who I forgot the name of, like younger faces in the Sonic series. Finally, because Sonic composers were just like leaving like left and right. We haven't seen Hideaki Kobayashi in a really long time, except for its recolors. Nanba got married to Otani, so she was out. Kumatani got married to Koi, so she was out. Like we were just losing a bunch. Shiro Okamoto was gone after Sonic Rush Adventure. Taihei is gone after Sonic 06. Minobe doesn't really make music anymore for the series, so we really did need some new composers, and they were incredible for their first time on a Sonic game. I did not know how they do it. Like they were given almost complete freedom to do whatever they wanted, and it ended up being perfect. Crazy. Sonic Frontiers Revisited goes right below it. Actually, I think it's gonna go below 06, but still, very I think it's actually going to go below Forces, because a lot of what I like about Frontiers OST is in the original. And while this is really good, I can't like carry over Frontiers' original soundtrack to the revisited one, because those original songs are not in the revisited soundtrack. But something I like a lot about it, I like Second. What is it? Is it called Second Wind? Second Wind is really like one of the best songs in the entire series. I think it's beautiful with its piano work. Otani uses a 12 string for the first time for the birthday song. It takes inspiration. I'm talking about both soundtracks here. It takes inspiration from Greek music, from Arabic music again, which we hadn't seen in a really long time, since I think Sonic Unleashed. Frontiers is a trailblazing soundtrack for Sonic, in my opinion. Sonic Superstars. Superstars is like Sonic 4 Episode 3, but I don't like it as much as Sonic 4 because it's not as well produced. I think it's gonna go like above Free Riders, but Pinball Party is gonna go above it. Superstars is like the most mixed Sonic soundtrack to ever exist in history. There's like 11 or 15 people on it. There's 2 sound directors, which is the first time that's ever happened, and I don't even know what Teruhiko Nakagawa did for sound direction. He didn't even make any music, I'm pretty sure. Like maybe he made the cutscene music. Cutscene music is forgettable, by the way. I don't remember a single thing except for the entry when they're like on the tornado. None of the songs are mixed. It's the only Sonic soundtrack to not be mixed by a mixing engineer. It wasn't mastered until the like, what was it, like the 32nd anniversary, like a year after it came out. It didn't get a soundtrack release, and then when it got one, it was really sloppy. It was mastered. Like, it was just everything was made louder, but nothing was really mastered to get rid of like peaks in the EQ curves. Some of the soundtracks are still, or some of the songs are still really loud compared to each other. I don't really know what happened here. Did they just run out of time? Like T-Lopes, he tried to mix like folk, but he did a really good job, but he's just not folk. So I think Mania was better for him. Sonoy, I don't really know what happened. Like, why did he go back to programming for himself if he was still gonna do music like he did in Sonic 4 Episode 2 10 years ago? Or I think 11. I don't remember. This game came out in 2023. I don't remember. But like, yeah, why are you still mixing, or why are you still producing like how you did 11 years ago. Why not just have everybody do your tracks for you? Maybe he did intend to do that, but he didn't have any time. Toriana is really lackluster. I just don't. She only made one good track in the whole series, and it was the Bingo Highway remix in Team Sonic Racing. For every other game that Toriana's been on, it's just so mediocre. Then there's a bunch of newcomers from 404 Reset from that one Sega mobile game, and they're not bad. Takenobu Mitsuyoshi back on a Sonic game, cool. But none of their music is really like memorable. Just like a lot, like pretty much, you can skip several portions of the soundtrack. It reuses a bunch of stuff from it reuses the stage clear from Mania. We don't even get a new stage clear theme. I just don't really know what happened with Sonic Superstars. Sonic Dream Team is really like disappointing. So if you don't know, it was made by Mikkel Vandenbos. I think that's how you pronounce it. Mikkel Vandenbos. He did Unreal Tournament. I expected a lot from him. He made some really good jungle and atmospheric music for Unreal Tournament. And then for Sonic Dream Team, he just kind of reverts to like a multimedia, like, oh, it's a video game, like very boring music. I'm not putting it up here actually. I'm putting it with Sonic Rivals. It's about on that level. It's just really boring. Sonic Rivals 2 goes above it because of Blue Coast. Yeah, he dropped the ball. It could have been really good, but it just wasn't. Shadow Generations, it's all right, I guess. It's okay. I'm putting it at Recolors level. Like, there are some really good parts about it, but then other parts of it I just don't really find too interesting. I don't remember any of the cutscene music, which is like half the soundtrack. Sonoi's contributions they're okay, but like 50% of the soundtrack is just Radical Highway. There's nothing from Shadow the Hedgehog, which it's not the soundtrack's fault. That's the whoever chose the stage's fault. But it's just like missing a lot that Generations didn't miss. The time, like the white space themes, there's no more dynamic music like how there was in Sonic Generations. Sonoi doesn't really do his own programming, and I find that to be interesting. Like, I find Sonoi's programming to be interesting when he does it for his rock tracks, so it's kind of disappointing that he just offloaded them. Sonic Adventure Music Experience is a good band, but it's just, it's alright. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing is just music from other series. I mean, I guess I can rank the music that it made itself. While I like it a lot, it's mostly construction kit stuff, so I guess I'll put it below Sonic Saturn. And then I'll just put this the same place because it's just Sonic and All-Stars Racing, but worse. Transformed, it's all right. I mean, a bunch of the songs use the exact same drum kit, repeatedly. Why is this up here? I'm putting this down here. I saw the songs just use the same drum kit repeatedly, so I can't really give it anything for variety because there is no variety really, and it's just remixes from other things where Jacques just uses a bunch of Omnisphere to replace everything. It's alright. Team Sonic Racing, Unleashed here. A lot of people are saying that Team Sonic Racing is I'll put it S tier. A lot of people say that Team Sonic Racing is the last like truly good Sonic OST. They're wrong, but I can understand why they would say that. It's the last like super traditional Sonic soundtrack, right? Before it was like taken into like a majorly different direction. And to be fair, that is because Frontiers came way after Team Sonic Racing. There's like 4 years difference between Team Sonic Racing and Sonic Frontiers. So there was a lot of time to decide what direction to go into. But I will say Team Sonic Racing is really good. There's no cutscene music, which is a plus. But the music made by Richard Jacques Odyssey Studios, the cutscene music, there is cutscene music, but I meant the like when they're talking to each other, it's so boring. It is so meaningless. Random people came in and made some like happy fun time royalty free Kevin MacLeod music for Sonic the Hedgehog. Why there was no one else who could do this? It had to be from random people on Odyssey Studios. Like, no shade to the people who made the soundtrack. They're good composers, I'm sure, but for Sonic, why? What is that? Sonic Racing Crossroads is garbage. I don't like Sonic Racing Crossworld's soundtrack because a lot of it was made by um, Takahiro Kai is not a good sound director. He is not a good sound director. He's like and he's an okay arranger. His first game for Sonic was Sonic Superstars, which already in itself is like bad sign. Then he was immediately made to be a sound director when he didn't know how, and he was like, if you listen to if you like read the liner notes for the soundtrack, you can tell he was very green to the position. He is not a good sound director at all. The soundtrack is completely like incoherent with when it comes to like how it sounds. It's mixed awfully, mastered terribly. The only good songs that ever came out of it in terms of mixing and mastering were the YouTube versions and the versions that were in the mixes. And those ones specifically do not include Takahiro Kai's tracks because they're not very good. I think Team Sonic Racing is a blight on the series, especially on the racing games. It is barely above D tier, only because there are some tracks from Otani and Sonoe and T-Lopes. That's its only saving grace. Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog's kind of boring. I guess it can go below Spinball. Sonic Rumble. Sonic Rumble is pretty good. I put it like around like Transform tier. The only issue I would say I have with it is that the mixing and the mastering for the newer tracks, like the ones that just came out, are just like really over compressed and distorted. I get maybe it's because it's coming through mobile speakers, but I don't really know why that happened. It started off really good, but then it just kind of got really loud and distorted for no reason. But besides that, Sonic Rumble is really good in terms of soundtrack. Okay, now we have a bunch of filler. Do I have to rank any of these? I'm just gonna like skip the fake ones. Like, who cares about Sonic Boom's soundtrack? There's only one memorable song, and it's the one that, like, let me just put this in like the shovelware tier. Bad. Sonic Dash is okay. There's only two songs in the game, so I guess I'll put on Dream Team level. Shovelware. Oh wait, Sonic Jump is alright. I guess I'll put it Sonic Dash tier. The remake's also good. Just shovelware. No. Sonic Schoolhouse. Lego Dimensions is bad. I'm not even gonna put it in the shovelware tier. I think Lego Dimensions Sonic music is legitimately just awful. It's really, really boring. Sonic Jam. This goes on the same level of Sonic 3D Blast, I believe. It's Takoi's introduction to the series, and it was really good. It gets kind of bogged down by being sequenced, though. Like, the samples are really low quality, and it's a Sega Saturn game, so I'm not sure why. They had a ton of space to spare, and they decided to make the music really low quality anyway. I don't understand. Mega Collection. I think I'll put this 8 here. Because this is where I believe Hideaki Kobayashi's music is meant for. When he makes, like, chiller stuff, if he's not making stage themes, it's very understandable, and you can tell where he's going. Not like unlike Sonic Advance 3 stage themes. So I really like Sonic Mega Collection's music. It also has a very consistent sound profile. He uses the FS1R, the Yamaha FS1R, and the Roland XP5080 a lot, and the Core Trinity. It's like just those three synths for the whole soundtrack, and it's very modern for the time period, and I have no complaints with it. It's very good. Sonic Gems Collection, marked decrease in quality. It's alright, but not reaching the highs of Sonic Mega Collection. It does have the one remix of the fairy theme from Sonic the Fighters. Sonic Origins is in E tier because the Sonic Origins Supersonic theme is not good, and the beta themes are really bad for Sonic 3. And I don't know why they didn't just use the versions that we know that they had, but better, that we'd already listened to. Like, it was already out there. I don't know why did they only make Origins because the Sonic 3 beta music was seen with the prototype reveal? Sonic at the Olympic Games. It's okay. It's kind of meh. Like, there's this thing where a lot of the songs are like half remixes. Like, they start off as a remix and they go branch off and do their own thing. Not really sure why. It kind of has the same sound profile as Recolors, which is alright, but it's just mixed kind of weirdly. I mean, it is a mobile game that barely anybody played, but I don't really know why it's like that. And it has a remix of Sonic Rush Adventure's boss theme, which is good, but then they replaced the vocal with Supersaw doing some really weird pitch curve, and I don't really know why they did that. Did they just not want to have the vocal because it sounded like a swear word? Oh, there it is. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. The first one is meh. There's no dream stage themes, so I guess I'll put it up here. Same thing for the other one. Now, Olympic Games. What is this? Is this 2010? Yeah, Olympic Games 2010. This is where they started introducing the dream themes. Really, really good. I'm gonna put this in like A tier above Recolors. Well, no. What was I thinking? There's a lot of songs in this game that are just like forgettable. If it's not a dream stage, then you don't know it. They're really boring. Same thing goes for the DS version. Same thing goes for London 2012 is better because it has Hataya on it. 2014 is where it starts getting really good. I would say it's on All Stars Racing Transformed level. But again, if it's not a dream, if it's not a dream stage theme, it's just not memorable. Same thing for the Brazil one. I mean Rio. Yeah, no, I don't remember. But same thing for Rio. I don't remember if this one has dream stage themes. I don't think it does, which would automatically put it like C tier. Like I'm putting this below all of these. Actually, it's better than it's better than Sonic Racing Crossworlds because it's mixed well, and it has. I'm pretty sure it has YMC. No. This one has YMCK on it. This one's going in the same spot. And that one's the last. Tokyo 2020. It's a very meh soundtrack. Like they really went out with a whimper for the Olympic series. Sega Superstars. The main theme is pretty good. I guess I'll put it above Gems Collection. Superstars Tennis. The main theme is really good. I guess I'll put it above Gems Collection. Shovelware, and Shovelware. Okay, so this is the Sonic the Hedgehog OST tier list. I'll do a slow scroll. So yeah, that was that. How long have I been filming? Almost 2 hours. Well, it's gonna be fun to edit. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. It was cool to make. But yeah, so this is the Sonic soundtrack tier list. They're pretty good for video game music, if I do say so myself.